was the intro.
Oh, right. I thought it was a rehearsal for the intro.
I think I nailed it. No, well, they can always do better. Tell me, what are you guys playing at the moment? Let's catch up. Eric, what have you
We
been playing
haven't
lately?
seen each other in so long. We gotta.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since the last time we did this.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm still playing A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Yeah, how far are you now?
Because I am on chapter 7.
Out of?
Like
How many is there?
16?
Holy shit, yeah. I remember that game feeling longer than I expected it to be.
Yeah. No, I just, you know, we're at the moment, we're in an Irish heat wave. I wouldn't say it's a heat wave for the rest of the world, but it's an Irish heat wave.
Right.
So, like, I'm obviously not going to stay inside and play video games all the time, and then I always work nights. So, you know, I don't get much time to actually sit down and play. But that's what I've been playing. Other than that, I watched films for the week. I watched Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw.
Instead of playing... Sorry, I haven't seen it. Maybe it's great. Is it great?
It's
in a
like
word.
just barely hitting the good crack.
Oh, okay.
And then I actually watched Detective Pikachu, which was good crack.
That is great crack.
That was great crack. Yeah, it's fun. But Plague Tale: Innocence is the game I've been playing at the moment.
I was saying the other day when I was working that when we get days like this, because you're right, it's an Irish heat wave, not necessarily this is like a normal day in Spain or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was saying we should treat this the same way we treat snow days. This should be national emergency. Everything closes down. Everyone go enjoy the sun because we just don't get it enough.
No,
to be working indoors. Like, what the fuck?
I was working yesterday, Saturday, from 11 till 6, and you can imagine how fucking dead it was in cinema. I was just saying, I was like, why don't we do a siesta like in fucking Spain? We're part of the EU. Why can't we do a siesta? Fucking.
Is that the criteria? If you're part of the EU,
yeah,
you get a siesta.
Well, I just think we should be.
I think it's more of a Spanish cultural thing. Right?
And
but Mexico.
In fairness to Spain, yes, this would be a regular day for Spain, and it's not like, you know, when they be hitting like 40 degrees Celsius for their fucking like, it's so they don't pass out.
Yeah, it's like for a genuine health
It's not
reasons.
so you can enjoy the sun. It's actually so you can not enjoy the sun.
So that you can enjoy the shade, actually, I think.
Well, we fucking need that too. Like, we're dying here. We don't get
because we're pasty-skinned people. I remember being in Malta and seeing there was lots of construction going on at the time, and just seeing the guys out building, and I was like, I could not work in that heat. I love enjoying this heat. Like, I'm on holidays. This is great. I'm walking around. I'm chilling. I'm sitting there and sunbathing. But man, working in that heat, like, at times like that, you'd definitely prefer the cold because you will heat up, but you will not cool down. No. You will not cool down if you're exerting yourself. It does the opposite. So that's my little take on the hot weather there. Ireland should close when it's hot.
Well, we are closed, aren't we? Technically.
Oh, we're fucking not. I'm there out in all black in a fucking cinema that no one goes to. It. I'm thinking, the fuck is the point of this?
Yeah, why am I here? This is just mean. It's like, you wouldn't let me come to work when everyone wanted to go to the cinema. The fucking lockdown.
Yeah, that was like, even when the girls asked, it's like, can we wear shorts? Or she asked me to ask the manager, could we wear shorts? And she was like, we make it seem like I'm not actually asking him. I was like, okay.
Right.
So I just went up and I asked him, I was like, can we wear shorts? Like, you know, again, you know, it's really hot. And he was like, no, health and safety reason. I was like, okay, fair enough. It's like, we're dealing with food. So I went there and told her that. And she's like, I'm not going to be fucking having my leg up on the popcorn where we're fucking scooping the shit.
The other thing is, most of the time, if you're dealing with the customers, you're behind that counter, right?
Yeah, you're not going to see.
Nobody would even fucking know if you guys were wearing shorts.
Well, you could have a little summer outfit that makes you look like little scouts or something.
Yeah, you could, if you had one of those little tie things as well.
Yeah,
and a little badge that's like shaped like a popcorn. Or now do you want it?
Want to look like a little Boy Scout?
It's like, okay, no, I'll take the trousers. It's fine. Adam, what have you been playing?
I've also been replaying A Plague Tale.
Oh, you guys are ahead
giving
of me
it
on
a
that
go.
one.
I've cleared it. I've
Holy shit! Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've also just been, giving it a go and platinuming it.
nearly actually. I've got 80% of the trophies.
Wow.
Yeah.
How have you found it on your second playthrough with the PS5 version of the game? Because I know of the three of us, you were definitely the least impressed. This episode's kind of like a follow-up to last week's episode in a way, because some of the same topics are going to kind of like a continuation of, we mentioned Plague Tale last week, but yeah, you weren't so pleased the first time around, huh?
Yeah, no, I think like it's still, the issues still stand. I'm really confused as to like, the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles are obviously so much more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One. Yet they're not performing as great as I was expecting. Like A Plague Tale, for example, on both the PS5 and Series X don't play in 4K.
Right.
So it's like, so therefore the visuals still kind of take a little bit of a hit. Character models and everything aren't as sharp as I was expecting it to be. It is at 60 frames, but for a game like that, I would prioritize resolution over frame rate, because it's not as if you need super smooth frame rate on it. It's not a fast
No, it's a pretty slow paced game, right?
So the 60 FPS boost wasn't that noticeable to me, because I think the game is quite slow. Loading is certainly a lot better, so that's a lot more enjoyable. You can just keep going through it. You're not like waiting ages for the next level to load up. I did. It made me more excited for the sequel. I'm looking forward to that sequel. I think they're going to make huge improvements, because I do find the gameplay is not that great with it, but it's just the story, the sound, the score is just incredible to it. It's a very unique game. So I think the sequel is where they're going to like really elevate and take this somewhere else going forward. But yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed by this new remaster, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah, I've yet to jump into it again myself. I always did find that the combat was not very fun.
Yeah.
More particularly when in the non-stealth scenarios where they are directly running at you. And if you happen to miss with the sling, you're dead, because there's not enough time to reload before they get you. Yeah. So it's like you got every hit has to land or you're dead. And then and the checkpoints were kind of annoying. I think I remember you'd go back a certain point and you're like, oh, fuck me, like, I don't even want to do this again.
Yeah.
Like I loved the first game, absolutely loved it, but I watched someone else play the last fight because I'd always get to the last phase of it, die. I did that about 10 times and I went, fuck this, I am so close to the end, I don't even give a shit anymore. I just want to see the fucking cutscene after this old bastard dies. So I was like, fuck this. So hopefully that's vague enough. or is that just the biggest spoiler ever? I don't know.
A vague tale.
A vague tale, not so innocent. But I love the game. I do love the game. And I do hope that in the sequel then that combat feels a little bit more fluid. They built up Amicia's character to do a lot more by the end of it, that I feel like in the second one maybe she needs to be a bit more able.
I think
she's a great character
as a protagonist, and I think she has the potential of becoming one of these really legendary female video game characters. Yeah, like up there with Aloy and Lara, if they handle her really well in the second one.
Yeah. I think I was blown away by the first one so much because I wasn't expecting anything.
Okay.
Right, and then I think maybe like I hadn't even heard the hype around it. I'd seen the cover of it, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look like it's for me, to be honest. Whenever I saw the cover, I kind of thought, because it was called A Plague Tale, and I thought it was sort of a Telltale style game, kind of a thing. Right. And then I saw some really good reviews for it, and it was on sale, I believe, in a January sale, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, why don't I try it out? Someone called it a masterpiece. How can it be that good? I was just expecting this little indie game.
Yeah.
So it all took me completely by surprise. I was expecting shit graphics, so that's why I was like, the graphics are amazing.
Yeah,
so for terrible graphics.
proprietary game engine, that's really, really impressive.
Mm.
Like to have that many. Maybe that's why the resolution is so low on the consoles, is because of the amount of rats. Like that must be like really heavy on the CPU.
Yeah, there's a lot of rats.
But I'm still surprised that it's not like 4K.
Right.
Yeah. That's one thing I do like about it is that, well, it's not realistic, but in the idea that like the amount of, like, it's a sea of rats, like it's very over the top, almost like you reading a story, and it's like that's how the author would have described it. You know what I mean? There was just a sea of rats and stuff, or there was when you're doing chapter 5 and you have to go through that battlefield.
I love
that.
That's
great.
That's great. I think
like that. The description of it would have been like mountains of bodies. So then they take it to that example of there's these fucking mountains of loads of bodies and corpses. And it's like Jesus.
Yeah, trying to tread through the bodies, I think is like really. And have you noticed, Eric, on the controller with the, not that they utilize haptic feedback or the adaptive triggers or is that what they're called, adaptive triggers?
Yeah.
In like, it's not like insane. It's not Astrobot, but they do enhance.
Oh,
it
is there.
It is there a little bit, so you can actually kind of feel, especially in the trigger, for example, you can feel a little bit of vibration, as though it's like they're breathing or their heart rate or something like that in it.
Wow.
And you know, you can feel the rats around you in through the haptic, just a little bit. It's not like,
but it adds to it, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it certainly gives it that extra bit that I didn't have when I was playing on the Xbox, and it's certainly it's, I suppose, kind of a better experience that way.
Yeah, I still think it's one of the more harrowing games I've ever played. Just for 4 scenes like that where you're trudging through bodies and bodies and bodies, and it's so like everything's filthy and dirty and and I remember there's like, isn't there a scene where you're going through a tunnel and the tunnel is literally made of like,
I love that. That's like Stranger Things.
I love it. Yeah, it's amazing, but I wasn't expecting it, and I suppose when I was going through the first time I was like, this is horrible. What the fuck? Like, what are these rats doing?
Yeah, because I think that's chapter 3, just after you went into town, and there was all like the crazy people who like to stop the plague started just burning anyone and everyone. Yeah, I saw you and just thought, oh well, you must have the plague too.
And it gets worse again once you get back to when you revisit your home. You're looking for your mother's secret lab or something like that, and it's even worse then again with the tunnels and just the you can see the bodies being made. It's a bit like Alien Xenomorph in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see what way the sequel goes, because obviously in the game the rats are afraid of light. They only come out at night. But in the trailer, it's daytime and all the rats are coming out.
Oh, I wonder if they're like evolving or adapting or something. Maybe that's going to be, so it's going to be like, okay, you need new ways of dealing with rats now because they've, you know, gone past the threshold of what people were using to deal with them.
No longer listening to Hugo or something.
Yeah. Or Hugo's gone nuts. I don't know. We'll have to.
Hugo's gone nuts.
Hugo's gone nuts. Once Eric has finished it, and once I get around to finishing it, we'll have to do a dedicated episode to Plague Tale, I think, and then we can do speculation on the sequel, maybe.
Okay.
But I think, it's a good enough game. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of themes and interesting stuff to.
Yeah, I think like it's on. You know, at the moment it's PS Plus and it's on Game Pass, and if you have either of those 2 subscriptions, it's absolutely worth trying. Giving it a go. It's very slow paced and stuff, but the overall, I think the aesthetic, the tone, the time period, it's a really, really intriguing game.
I would say that if in the last year you're one of the people who really enjoyed the experience, not the story, right? I don't want anyone to kind of get me wrong here. The experience of The Last of Us Part 2, I think you will love this game. In terms of it being real harrowing and dark,
I wouldn't say it's
no like sunshine, no happiness.
Because there are moments of happiness in Plague Tale Innocence, I think.
small moments that maybe equate to like that museum sequence, right? Like maybe.
Yeah, the
But
start.
no.
Yeah, but they're a little bit
very,
more frequent though, I think.
the very start of the
So,
game. That's it.
No, like
yeah,
before you get to the battlefield, for example, there's Hugo's little kind of innocence with the frogs and stuff like that, and after that, it's getting to the castle and finding your like a new home for yourselves, and you know, there's the picking up the flowers. There's lots of little beautiful moments throughout the game that really makes the thing worthwhile, makes the struggle worthwhile, which I think is what Last of Us 2 missing.
Right. Well, maybe the struggle is all that's stuck in my head. Then
Maybe.
it's so dark.
But as a game, it actually
dark.
reminds me a little bit more like The Order 1886. I don't know, Eric, if you agree with that. In terms of the kind of the kind of focus on high fidelity, very linear story, not great gameplay, but an intriguing environment, intriguing like kind of world and lore. You'd almost swear they were made by the same people to some degree.
There's a similar look, I think, in the color tone and graphics.
Yeah.
Not saying one is better looking than the other, but like there is a similar, like I do get that. There's a similar vibe in how the games look, I think.
I would love a sequel to The Order.
Same. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't even care what it would come out on. Just fucking make it.
Yeah, bring it out on the Steam Deck. Give me a reason to get the Steam Deck.
Oh, and we'll get there. Give it that would be your reason. You get right. Oh, we'll get there. Okay. So if you've played A Plague Tale: Innocence, let us know what you think of it. And if you've yet to play it, definitely recommend trying it out. Recommend the experience, especially if you have PS Plus and it's available to you, or if you have Game Pass. Like if it's there, you might as well give it a go. I will say the game is probably not for everyone, so maybe it's not a go straight out and buy it thing.
No, but if it's on one of those two.
But if it's on one of those, definitely give it a try.
Yeah.
It's a very particular type of game. There's no multiplayer fun aspect to it.
One interesting thing about the upgrade, actually, I'm not 100% sure why this is. It's smaller on the PS5. It's like 30 something gigabytes, but it's 40 something gigabytes on the Xbox.
Why would that be?
And are they able to just kind of compress it better?
It either has something to do. My guess would be that on the PS5's SSD is much faster, that it's able to load in assets quicker, that there'd be less duplication of objects. Because often in games, you know, if you have like a barrel and then down the road there's another barrel, if they can't load that in quick enough, generally what they do is they just duplicate the file, so they'll just have two barrels for that particular level. Whereas at the PS5, we just need the one barrel because it's able to load it in quicker that many times. So it's either that, or it's the Xbox version actually has a 120 frames mode that the PS5 version doesn't.
Okay.
So perhaps that 120 frames mode is just a larger
that
file
sounds
or something like that.
That sounds likely. That sounds like it could be it.
Yeah, I don't see why a locked frame rate would increase the size of the file really,
but it's the most
it's
obvious
interesting. I
difference.
think it's interesting how the two are that is a difference between the two.
Yeah. So I've been playing during the week a game called It Takes Two.
What's that
which I
like?
decided to pick up and try out because I tell you what, there's plenty of games that I'm in the middle playing and wanting to play and all this stuff, but they're all single player kind of serious experiences. And to be honest, I was just dying to play something couch co-op with Ash so that we can play games and hang out at the same time. And it's not a case of, it's like, you know, because sometimes she's fucking bored looking at me playing a game, and then or sometimes I'm like, no, you know what, you put on whatever you want, you know, because you know it's not fair if I'm hogging the telly all the time.
Right.
So this way, I was looking for something like that's why we always love the Lego games, because it's just they're fun couch co-op. It's not serious, it's just a bit of fun. And this is very much like a Lego game, in that you can't really die. Really, if you die, you spawn back to your partner, or at least to where maybe you need to be on the map. The tone of the game is strange and all over the place. Like it's weird, and some of it's very cringy. the cutscenes are quite cringy.
Okay.
But to be honest, that's why it's so like a Lego game. So are the Lego games. They're cringy too, and you just go, yeah, who cares? I skip. Just play the game. But the actual gameplay is a lot of fun. Really, really fun. And the game, there's a free. So the game version I got, it's you can download a PS4 and PS5 version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can also download a free friend pass, which you can just, so from my understanding, you can give to a friend who doesn't have the game.
Yeah, so a friend can
play
join
the game
you.
with you.
Yeah. And as long as you're playing it, they can play.
Yeah. The other fun thing about it is it has to be multiplayer. There is no single player at all. You either have to play local, which is couch co-op, or online. But you cannot play the game on your own. And it absolutely depends on the two people working together. And I think the fun dynamic about it is the game is about a couple, these parents who are looking to get a divorce. And then through some means they're put into this scenario where they're forced to work together in order to get back to their original bodies. And in doing so, they have to do all these little challenges where they actually have to face certain things that actually annoyed each other about each other that they were putting off. Things like I thought you were going to fix the Hoover months ago, and now they have to fix the Hoover together, and the Hoover turns into like a boss fight, and it's it's weird and silly, but it's a bit of fun, and it's kind of an interesting concept that it's like, as the two players have to, and it's not only that you have to work together, you have to communicate. We actually found ourselves arguing as we were trying to do it. It's like, no.
Funny.
Right. It's like, no, you, if I hit this thing, you have to jump on that before I do this. And they're like, no. You have to do this first, and then you're talking.
It's like by the end of it, when you complete the game, the story of the characters is they find out that they don't want a divorce in the end, that they want to stay together, but the players playing end up splitting.
This is why we haven't finished the game. No, I don't. But yeah, so we played a bit of that, and it's a bit of fun. It's nothing serious.
Is there consequence then? Because in Lego, I know you're saying there's not much consequence if you die in it, but you do lose coins and bits that you've so you can't get the 100%.
Yeah, no, there's no consequence of that nature. It's really just the puzzles are more challenging than a Lego game.
Okay.
But there's no real consequence. And then when it comes to boss fights, if you both die, if you die in a boss fight, you actually have to tap triangle real quick or whatever to get yourself back to life. But if you are both dead before any of you come back, you have to start the whole boss fight all over again.
Okay,
but it's still not, that's still pretty forgiving. Like, it's not a thing of game over, you got to do the whole chapter all over again. So it's wacky.
I think that's what
it's a weird. Do you think the game was
designed around that whole concept of having possibly a primarily gamer person who has a partner that's not really into games, but allows them to do something together?
Possibly. I think there is a genuine, or has been a cry out for couch co-op, because while this game has online multiplayer, I imagine that can be fun, but I can't imagine that's as fun as playing in the same room. I really can't.
I know a friend of mine, him and his girlfriend were playing that, and they were saying that they argued a lot.
Argue like cats and dogs.
Is Operation Tango, because that's another one obviously that requires second player. Is that local co-op as well? Have you tried?
I think it can be, but it's recommended not, because you can look at the other screen. Whereas
you'd have to do that old. You need to do that old trick, the one where you tape the blanket.
And
just put it between you.
You see, that's the difference at this game. You do have to look at the other person's screen.
Oh, it is split screen.
Sometimes.
It's not like you're sharing the screen?
Oh, it's split screen. It's not only split screen, and this is again why I think it's built for couch co-op more so. If you play online multiplayer, it's also split screen.
Oh, that's weird.
Because you do have to be able to see what the other person is looking at to solve some of the puzzles.
Oh, okay. That's a bit weird.
But that would be distracting multiplayer, I imagine. Whereas when you're on the couch, and you're both talking about the same thing, you're looking at it together, you're experiencing it at the same time. It's, so it's fun. If it's available on Game Pass, it might be. I don't know, but if it is, it probably is through the EA Play thing. It's an EA game, so
Maybe
might be worth giving it a go.
It now.
And it was 40 quid to buy, and that only came out this year, so it wasn't too bad.
And it's you were saying it is a PS5 version as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's much enhancements to that, to be honest. Like I don't really.
It's not on Game Pass.
I'm not sensing any haptic feedbacks or anything like that, but yeah, it's a bunch of fun. But then I went down a rabbit hole this week that I'd like to talk very briefly about. That I don't want to like give anything away of. I went down the Doki Doki Literature Club rabbit hole. Right? So this thing was this game came out like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was free, totally free on Steam, and it's now come to consoles in a version called Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. It's a real anime game.
Okay.
And there's always a content warning that says this game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed.
Okay.
Anyone who has played it knows, and anyone who hasn't will not know. You won't know. And you won't understand. So I didn't play it myself because I was like, I really don't see the appeal. But it was at.
Oh, I see. I was confused because I just looked it up there and I see what you mean. But here's me thinking it was something to do with yeah. Here's me
but
thinking.
Don't look further than that.
I won't. But there is a game called Doki Doki Universe. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
It was like a Vita game, and that's what was in my head when you're talking about this. I thought it was like just another version of this, but which is a very innocent kind of puzzle game, and it's not anything like the Literature Club yoke.
So
I'm wondering why they have the same name.
Are you aware of what Literature Club is?
Well, just by kind of searching it there, I kind of have a.
It gave you a quick gist there, did it?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. There was a trailer for it at one of the conferences during E3, and you see, I'd heard about it first from a bunch of. I work with a lot of young people, and a lot of young people had been talking about it before, and they were like recommending it to me because they knew I was into games, and I was like, that does not sound like it's for me. They were describing it as this anime dating simulator, essentially, and I was like,
there used to be a lot of those.
And it's a response to those, I believe. It was the white guy made it, and then in the when it came up in the trailer, and people were excited for it, I was like, why is the thing about this game? And I said the #1 psychological horror experience. I was like, what? How could this possibly be scary? So I watched someone stream it, and I said, I'm going to see a little bit of it and see what the hell this thing is. And I ended up watching pretty much all of the stream. And all I can say, Pagan should 100% stream this game.
Okay.
Should 100% stream it and should stick with it. Stick through all the cringe. It should absolutely stick with it. And if anyone hasn't checked out Pagan Plays, please do, on Twitch, on YouTube. She's also on the Replayer podcast, so check all that out. And she's been in an awesome thing where she's been raising funds for able gamers, and that's a really, really, really awesome charity to help people with disabilities get more accessibility to playing games, essentially. Mm-hmm. So there's a great, and we'll put a link to that in the description on YouTube and also in the description on the audio platforms. But do check that out. Please support that. That'd be great. But do check out Pagan streams as well. But I'm going to recommend that out there. Tell her not to look it up or anything, but tell her to stream it.
I have looked it up.
You're curious, Eric.
I am on the images. I am not seeing any horror. I am just seeing.
They're very clever. I must say, the people who share this stuff, they're very, very clever to like. Yeah, right. You're wondering now. You're like, how could this possibly?
But I'm just wondering, like, okay, the two of you right now look up Doki Doki Universe.
Okay, I'm gonna look up Doki Doki Universe.
Which was
World. Do it with us.
Which was a Vita game.
Right.
And here's me thinking it's like a sequel to that, and I'm like, well, why is it sharing the same name? What's Doki Doki exactly is
Right,
there?
so Doki Doki, I had to look man, I'm telling you, I've been in a rabbit hole, right?
Okay.
I've looked up the creator, I've looked up everything about this fucking game. Doki Doki is a Japanese onomatopoeic phrase for like heartbeat, and it's used for when your heart is racing because you're in love,
Okay.
or when it's racing because of intense fear.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And the entire artwork throughout the entire game is that Japanese anime bubbly the entire time.
So there's no connection.
I don't think so. I think maybe Doki Doki Universe came first, and maybe when this guy saw that, maybe he was like, "Oh, that's a cool name actually for this idea that I have." Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because it was always going to be. But the guy who I see Doki Doki Universe.
Very different.
It's nothing like that. But the guy Dan Salvato is the guy who made this literature club game, and he just asked for donations at the beginning. He said, "If people like this, please donate because it'll help me out." But he wrote it, he did all the music to it, and then he made it through some app that helped him kind of put it together quite easily. And he just had 2 other artists help him with the actual artwork. But other than that, he did everything himself.
Okay.
And he hates anime. Or it's not that he hates anime. He was like, he just doesn't understand the huge appeal for this particular brand of anime, which was like cutesy girls doing cutesy things.
Gotcha.
And then he came up with this idea, and this was like his response to that.
And what's the? Is it on Steam then, or?
It's on Steam, but it's also, because there's a Plus version now, it has come to all the consoles. It's come to PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo.
Adam's going to go down the same rabbit hole.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, what would be
I would warn if people are
10 out of 10 on Steam.
Yeah,
162,420 votes is it's 10 out of 10 on Steam. Wow.
Man,
okay.
I'm not fucking joking yet. Like, I would love to talk about
Overwhelming
what it actually is.
Okay. I'm just trying to see what would be the
fucking 100% stream.
Oh, so it's a tenner. No, wait, it's not a tenner. It's free?
It's free on Steam. The guy put it
Wow.
for free.
Okay.
He just accepts donations for it. But, and even reviewers say this. They'll tell you about the game, right?
Right.
They'll say, you gotta stick through the cringe. It is really cringy for like hours.
Okay.
Right. And that's all part of it. And they were like, and as they're explaining to you, like, if this sounds like something you hate, then I'm right there with you. It's like, I fucking hate it too. It's like, if you hate the idea of 4 very typical anime girls in a literature club, and you're trying to like write poems to get the attention of whichever one you'd like to date, if that sounds like a shit game, you're right. But you have to stick with it. That's all they say.
That sounds like a brave game to make.
Yeah.
Unless it was like unless it's a Trojan horse kind of a thing, where it's like a big middle finger to the type of people who wanted a game like that.
It is. That's the thing. But unfortunately, if you look it up at all, everything does say that it's kind of what it is.
Right.
And also at the beginning of the game, they have to put in a content warning. And they said it's not suitable for children, and it said if you're easily disturbed, I do not recommend you play this game. I'm
imagining that this game becomes like some fucking Misery looking thing or something.
The movie Misery, or even the book, like Stephen King's Misery.
No, that's what I'm like talking about. Like, because if you're trying to woo one of these 4 girls with poems,
right?
Do the others then get like? Because obviously, when I look at the images, all it is just those 4 girls.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to play it, Eric, and we have to find out.
Oh,
I don't know if I want that.
I know you should.
I mean, it's free on Steam on both Windows and Mac, actually. So.
You should. You really should. I'm kind of raging now. I didn't play it. That's the only thing. I'm like, it's ruined on me.
Okay.
I should have played it. I really should have just sat down and actually just believed
I'm gonna give it a go.
Reviews and fucking.
Is it long? Like.
I think it can be. I think it just depends on.
Well, how long was the stream that you watched?
Oh, that was 7 hours altogether.
But
wow. They were doing a lot of
you really stuck through that, huh?
I did some skipping because I was like, where's this going to go? But ultimately, when it got really interesting, I saw all of that onwards.
Okay.
Do you know? So I was like, yeah, okay.
Fair play to him sending it out for free. Like the DLC on it is £10, so maybe he's just relying on that for funds, but
possibly. I think it blew up a lot more than he was expecting. This guy, he makes like, previously he had made like levels on like the Super Mario game where you could like make public levels.
Oh, Mario Maker?
Yeah. And like he was kind of famous for that, but he's not really a game developer. He just did it as a bit of a hobby. So
that's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's all really interesting, and I would love to talk about.
Maybe we should
the
all
ending with you guys.
Well, yeah, we should probably.
We should
play it, and then we should just discuss it then.
Yeah,
once
we've
cleared it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We 100% should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just Monica. Okay. Everyone knows. Okay. So.